Hi guys, well welcome back to the channel. I thought it was about time that we had a little look around the glasshouse as we enter this last week of March. Spring has very much been in the air in the UK in the last week or so. I'll take the camera off and we'll have a swing around the glasshouse to see how things have been growing. Right, so we'll make a start up the door end of the glass house with my huge great tripod, sorry about that. I've got my large Rosebud Supreme, which is coming into full leaf now, just starting to throw a few buds. It is a huge, great thing. Hopeful of getting that outside this year, of course. Last year I was very, very busy in doing all the work in the house, and our external sort of courtyard was basically a building site. But this year we should be able to make a bit of something with it. So all these large plants, got another one there. Let's have a look at my large standard. That's a plant called Rushmore Spotted Shrimp, one of the Pelargonium Society, Steve Pollard's plants. But that's one of the early cuttings from it, and it is huge. It's almost too big even to get to show these days. It's a giant thing. I go over to the Pelargonium Society channel for all of my tutorials where you'll see me do work on a number of these plants. I'll put a link in the description below. Something else that you'll be able to see is me potting up this trained white mesh ivy leaf variety, which is growing on. Now I only did a couple of tip stops on the really long stems, so I've got loads of bloom coming through on that, which is obviously well before showtime. It's around 3 months, just under 3 months. Filming this today on the 24th, I think it is today, 24th of March. Our show is on the 20th of June, so all of those flowers, I'll probably need to strip them off really in order to make the plant put some effort into growing. But it's a nice variety, white mesh, one of these veined leaf types. I've actually just watered the cuttings, which is why there's a source of water in there. There's my cuttings. I generally take the lid of that off during warmer days. Now in the UK, we have had really a couple of weeks of really quite nice weather. Still warm weather during the days. We've had some quite hard frosts at night, it should be said. Some of the hardest frosts, rather bizarrely, that we've had all winter. But I've kept the lid on that today. I've got a good vent at the top. I don't generally like keeping these cuttings enclosed, but it's a lot cooler today, so I'll probably just keep that lid on. They shouldn't come to too much harm. But I have been, certainly during the day in warmer temperatures, getting that lid completely off. Because pelargoniums don't like to be kept humid, but it is really quite chilly today, so I'm going to run with keeping that on probably today. Now, Angel variety, Albury Duet, that's coming together quite well. I did tip stop or give a little bit of a cut back, and I've done that one. I did that at about 15 weeks. So it's just starting to sort of break through. I'm hopeful that that will be something fairly decent for the show. Did repot it as well about a month to 6 weeks ago. So that's looking quite shapely, as is this fragrance, nice scented leaf variety. Always difficult to describe scents because many of them are often very different to everybody. So, but that's growing quite uniformly. Again, I potted that up too because that was only in a 4.5 inch pot, I think, but I put it up to a 6 now. It is throwing at a bit of bloom. I didn't really stop that either, so I'll just trim the bloom off with about sort of 5-6 weeks to go before the show, and then it'll all hopefully come back. Got all sorts of things going on here. This is a young standard of a commercial variety called Tango White Splash. doesn't seem to want to grow like a good number of the commercial varieties. All it wants to ever do is flower, but I'm hopeful that it does put on a bit of growth to get that head a bit bigger, but I'm struggling a bit with that one to get it to grow too much. Some other younger commercial varieties here that I'm growing as standards. Everybody knows that I like to grow Pelargonium standards. Again, pop over to the Pelargonium Society channel, where I did a video a few weeks back talking a lot about growing standards and how to initially train them. Now here we got this is an old bicolour variety, Princess Alexander. It's got a couple of leaves that I probably need to get rid of. But this always comes through very well each year. It needs another stake in it, I think, because it's wobbling over a little bit. But that always does really well for me. It just sort of slows up and it always comes back quite strong. Now, a lot of my, plants intended for show were cut back fairly hard at the sort of 17, 18 week mark, which is right for doubles, which is what that one is. I think that's actually my own Gosbrook Susanna. It depends on the weather. If we're going to get a cool spring, some of these will almost certainly miss the show. Last year, of course, we had a very warm spring, and the majority of my plants, which I did stop a bit at an earlier date in order to ensure that they were flowering, are gone over. But this year, because I'm still getting used to the positioning of my glass house, which is much more open, much warmer, I've just taken the risk this year of really sort of almost pushing the stopping time down to the absolute minimum. But yeah, it may backfire on me, but who knows? We'll have to see. I've got what we class as a Floribunda, which is a larger grown dwarf variety. That's again one of my own, Shrivenham Crown. But that is growing back quite nicely, and I'm really hopeful that that'll make quite a decent plant by the time of the show. Now here I've just got some young Regal seedlings. These are from Ada Green, and they're just beginning to bud up. So it'll be interesting to see how they look or how they come through at I would say mid-April. I would think we may have some bloom on those. I have been doing one or two Instagram posts on the new Pelargonium Society Instagram page. So if you've got Instagram or you want to get Instagram, pop over to that. I do a number of short bursts on that one, short reels as they're known. Another mesh leaf variety, Wantirna. You probably see the meshing on the leaves a bit clearer on these stem breaks that are coming out further down the plant. I do find that in the summer they lose the meshing, but the meshing is always really prevalent early in the spring and in the autumn as well. But I do find that they tend to grow out a bit. The meshing dissipates during the summer in the brighter conditions. But it does have a lovely, vibrant, deep red single bloom. So it's quite a nice one. But this reddening of the leaves is purely down to stress. And in the UK, we have had the extreme of spring weather, very warm days with very, very cold nights. And it is that variation of temperature which stresses the plants, and the plants show their stress by this reddening of the leaves. And realistically, these leaves will never turn green. So if you've got a lot of them, just take one or two off every now and again. You will get the green ones are obviously sort of all coming through, but just take the odd reddened leaf off now and again. If it hasn't got a lot of leaf on the plant, don't go stripping them all off, because you'll be then having to really watch how you water them and all this kind of thing. But yeah, so just be a bit careful, but they won't revert. They won't go back to green They will just sort of grow out if you don't do anything with them. Doesn't affect too many other types of plants. Affects Stellas the same because they're regal. There's zonal hybrids, of course, and there's a little bit of reddened leaf on a young Stella down there. Doesn't affect the regals quite so much. Does affect them occasionally, but regals don't mind a cooler temperature really throughout the winter and into the spring, so they can handle it a bit more. So anyway, yeah, that's something just to note really. Lots of young cuttings dotted about and sort of new plants. Now we did hold our AGM, the Pelargonium Society AGM at the weekend, and we went over to Fibrex Nursery, again linked to them in the description there. I did get hold of a number of young plants, which I have potted on in various sort of places over in the greenhouse there. Again, I do a little short on the Pag's Instagram page, just showing me sort of potting them on. Not rocket science, so nothing too much to show. But I've got a lot of show plants here, obviously, and a lot of larger. That's one of my own seedlings. That was from Ada Green last year. I think that was an Ada Green Gwendoline cross, and I'm hopeful to get it. That's got a really deep, vibrant red bloom on it, that one. Just throwing a little bit of bloom, so you might see that in a few weeks. Not a lot sort of really to show. We got my Tintamara there, which is beginning to grow through. Nice gold bronze leaf variety. Now all of the big boys down this end, that's a Lady Plymouth, actually, a Lady Plymouth standard that I'm developing. It's quite young. I only started the process on that about a year ago. That was, I want to say, about a February, March cutting from last year. So it's only a year old, but it's grown up, and I'm developing the head on it. I haven't actually done any stopping of the regal standards. So we'll have to see how they grow. They'll probably flower well before show. So, I'm not going to be overly concerned if they don't make the show. They'll all go outside and make a display in our garden. This is Carolyn Schmidt. Nice red bicolour. Again, it's huge. It probably needs to go up into a clay pot now. I've got that in about a 7-inch plastic pot at the minute. If I was to put that outside, it'd have to be potted up into a clay pot though, realistically. Got a lot of hanging pots. I'm hopeful of getting to the show, to be fair. That's Mrs. May last. That's Rushmore Bondi Blue. They always do quite well in the hanging pots. I've got a couple of others here. That is a plant called Elsie, E-L-S-I, an older hybrid ivy leaf variety, bicolour. And that's doing quite well, has to be said, grows like wildfire. I've got a Lady Plymouth pot down that end, if I just home in on that. That's doing all right as well. Feeding them high potash now, so I don't want the leaves to get too big. So yeah, I'm sort of trying to organise different types of feed. It's never that easy when you've got so many to water. But yeah, I've got trying to use the high potash now, particularly for plants that I don't want to grow much bigger. Now I've got this lovely standard of Orset developing here. Now I did only stop this around the edge. I'll just focus. I did only stop this around the edge because it was growing sort of almost oblong really. Dumpy, and I need to get a bit more height on it. So I didn't stop the top stems, but I did trim round the sort of side stems. But that has the potential to be something quite nice this year. Hopefully getting that to the show. Again, more regal standards over here. There's all sorts of different ones. This is Nicola Buck. which is a really large flowering regal variety. One minor problem that I do get on regals in the spring in the glasshouse at this time of year is green fly. Green fly is always prevalent, and I've had to do quite a bit of spraying, to be fair, in order to get rid of the green fly. They always home in around about March, and it's a bit of a pain in the neck. Always happens. There we go. Mrs Parker, that bloom's just going over, so we'll just nip that off. Right, over here we've got this lovely Sarah Dawn angel that I'm growing. Very, very consistent and stable colouring on that. Nice centre green with the about the edge, a third of the edge, quarter of the edge is always the light green. It's very, very stable. Lovely variety, Angel Pelargonium. Got that up now to a 7-inch pot. I got that from Fibrex this time last year at the AGM. When it would have been like 2 or 3 months old. So it's a winter 24-25 cutting, and that's grown on. So it's about 15 months old now as a guess, and I'm growing that into a standard. I've got it to the height that I want, and it's got a nice head developing, but very consistent. So we've got a few others, commercial variety there, Pack Aristo, purple stripes, hopefully getting that to the show. That had a tip stop. You can just maybe see in there where I've done the tips. If I can home in on it. There it is. You can just see where I've taken the tip out, just in there. That's a tip stopping. So hopefully, that's going to make the show. We'll have to see. But here's a good example of something that's going to be, well, it may grow. It depends purely on the weather. That's bursting through. I mean, it's going to make a good shape. But whether that will make our show on the 20th of June or not is very debatable. That one's coming through a little bit more comprehensively. Another one there, Robin Louise, one of mine, that I bred years ago. Again, probably 50-50, but it's quite fast growing in the spring as the weather warms up.
Now, one thing that would be really helpful for the channel would be for you to subscribe. You only need a YouTube account to do it. So click that subscribe button, please, and also put a like on the videos if you like them, because it really does help the channel. Thanks very much indeed.
Come up the other side here then. I've got a standard of Mrs May last, which is okay. I did give that a stop, so who knows, it may get to the show. I've got my giant Phyllis here, which is grown through brilliantly. That's looking really nice. I did tip stop that to a certain extent because I did tip it in the winter. Some people find that awkward to grow. The key thing with it is, as I think I've said a number of times in the past, it is, I find, semi-deciduous. It drops all its leaves in the autumn, and then you need to ensure that you do not water it. If you water it in the autumn and early winter, you will almost certainly kill it when it's virtually got no leaves on it. But it all grows back. If you keep it dry, it all starts punching back. And you can see all the yellow on it is all new growth, which has come through. 1 or 2 slightly older leaves. There's a slightly older leaf, which I will probably just break off at some point. It's never sometimes easy to break them off. Well, it is easy in this case. There we go. But yeah, we've got all this lovely new growth coming back through. Again, got some more show plants over here. That's an Elsie Taylor. I'm confident that that will at least be ready for show. But yeah, it'll all be interesting. You've got a young Phyllis here. Talking of Phyllis, that's a little youngster. So that one's ready to go. Now that is one that I got hold of last year, which I think has got a French name, rather bizarrely. Souvenir de Preux. Now that was available from a nursery called Growing Crazy. Has got a lovely large bloom to it, but I do find its growth a bit sporadic. It does seem a little bit temperamental. I find that it doesn't like being watered. It's one of these pellies that really doesn't like a lot of moisture, a lot of water. So I ease off, and then I probably give it too much, and then it makes one or two of the leaves go a bit crinkly and all that kind of thing. It's getting used to how a plant lives. That can sometimes take some time in the Pelargonium world. Now here I've got a couple of seedlings from commercial varieties. I crossed this plant here, if I look at my label. Now this is a Flora Media variety. It was just geranium zonal purple, Flora Media variety, just commercial variety. But it's got a very dark leaf. But I haven't still got that plant, but I crossed it with a Highfields variety, which is a large growing, very historically old variety, one of the Ken Gamble varieties, Highfields Cameo. It did take, but it's certainly got I would say the Highfields leaf, very, light green. The plant that I took the seed from, the zonal purple, has got a leaf very similar to that, which is very different. I'm trying to reference here. If we home in on that, it's got a very dark leaf, so it's the Highfields has carried it through. So it's going to be interesting to see what that ends up looking like. Now I've got a little bit of bloom going on here, Charles Carnod, and that's looking quite vibrant. Got an Ashby that's just about to come out. On the Pelargonium and Geranium Society, I am going to do a video of some of my favourites at some point, and Ashby is certainly one of them. I've got an Pat Aristo Black Beauty, which has just started to bloom. That wasn't intended for show. I really cut that back hard, and it was nothing but stalks a month or so ago, and it's grown back really nicely. And that's just started to bloom rather bizarrely. A few other bits and pieces here, some of my standards just beginning to, flower, ones that I haven't stopped that are intended for show. This prim here, which I did take to the show last year, has actually been overwatered. I knocked the pot out just to check that it didn't have mealybug, and it hasn't. It was just purely overwatered. So I'm letting that dry out now. It is suffering a little bit. So, even us sort of so-called experts do get it wrong now and again. I've got to let that dry out, then I'll probably repot it. But I thought I'd give a little bit of a show around. It's been a couple of months since I've done a video on this site. If I stand back, you'll get a sort of good view of how the greenhouse is beginning to come to life at this time of year. But head over to the Pelargonium Society website, where I'll be doing lots of bits and pieces. I'm going to be planting up a basket in the next couple of weeks, I think. So get over to there and you'll see me in action with plenty of tutorial videos. So that's it from me today. Thanks very much. Goodbye for now.